Hey everybody, welcome to the DBS Films Podcast. My name is Kelvin. With me as always is my brother Brendan. Together we make movies with DBS Films. In today's episodes, we're going to be giving you an update. It is now officially the end of quarter 2, so we basically wanted to check in what we've been doing for the past 3 months, where we're at, and what we see for the future in store for us. Be sure to go ahead and take a look at our Discord channel online. There is a possibility that Horror in the Forest will be out by the time you're listening to this. But we'll make plenty of announcements for that. Again, watching that movie, leaving a review is by far the best thing you can do for us. But you can also take a look at Forest of Deaths and our other movies out there as well, too. So, as I kind of mentioned, and as we did earlier in the year, we want to basically give you guys some quarter updates. And now it is officially halfway through the year. Easily the most productive year for DBS when it comes to the number of movies that we've made, the number of movies that we've released, all of these things. So really just kind of wanted to hop in and basically give you guys an update. So I say let's go ahead and start kind of on the production side. So we'll go on the production side, and then we'll kind of go to the community side, and then in the next episode we'll kind of give you guys insights into what we're forecasting for quarter 3 here. So again, I think this has been a big step up when it comes to the process and the just how quickly we're getting through the different stages of making the movies. I think one of the big benefits is that they are found footage, but I mean, I feel like we're in a really good spot. We did have some rain delays on Bigfoot, but we're looking at a movie releasing anytime now. So a movie releasing the quarter, but again, the distribution and Amazon gods held us back on making that date by a few days. So I don't see that as a big issue. We did get through principal production of Bigfoot, but there was a little bit of storm, so we got to do some pickups there. But I think, we're going to be starting quarter 3 very strong with those 2 movies basically ready to go. So what are kind of your thoughts now that we're done with quarter 2?
Yeah, I think coming into this, the goals were to film a movie, to get Horror in the Forest uploaded on Amazon, and then to get the Roger Project off to distribution. And the most important one of that is to film the movie, to continually push this, company forward. And we did that with the Bigfoot Project. Obviously there are things that were outside of our control, which we're going to have to do pickups on, but that's none of our fault. And then the other goal was to get Horror in the Forest off to Amazon, and we delivered that on June 15th, and the distribution company uploaded it right away, and it's just up to Amazon when they want to upload that. I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to wait till either today, which is the 30th, or the 1st, because then they can wait another month to pay us. That kind of seems to be like a release schedule thing. But it's up to them. All we can do is deliver the products. Whenever they have a space open, they'll deliver it. I know they got Prime Day coming up, so this could be a blessing in disguise if you get Bigfoot to come in there and we get all those eyeballs from Prime Day. It could be a boon for us. As far as the Roger Project, we're still, the biggest issue that we have right now is just getting these things done, editing wise. And it's just a lot to go from, finishing Horror in the Forest to getting that done with QC, to writing a script, to shooting a movie, and then doing all that stuff in between. Basically, I had to take 3 weeks off just to work on the Horror in the Forest. So that obviously didn't leave a lot of time to edit the Roger Project. That being said, Kel did a really good job with the rough edit. And I don't think there's a lot of pickups in there. I was really surprised at how well we were able to do that movie, because it really was kind of a stew. I moved some scenes around, but kind of looked at it, and I think we have everything we need. It's coming in a healthy 1 hour and 18 minutes, and I think it's going to be really solid. There's just a few things that we have to do to clean up in there, but I don't think that the post-production on this one is going to be as heavy as Horror in the Forest. I think we could turn it around pretty quick. I think that, there's a possibility that we could have both Bigfoot and the Roger Project release around the same time. I know we have a hard deadline on September 15th for the horror festival here in Orlando, Florida. So obviously it has to be done by then, but I really don't see a reason why this is not uploaded and completed in July, maybe late July. But we pushed as far as we could, and now I think that's the first step of creating a company, is to just try and push and see how far you can push, how much work you could possibly do. And I think we did as much as we possibly could. So now it's just on me to kind of look back and say, like, all right, maybe we need a little bit more help in post production. Maybe we can outsource some things, or maybe there's ways that we can kind of, clean up some of the stuff that we're doing, just get a little bit faster, get a little bit more leaner. But for all intensive purposes, I thought this was a very successful second quarter.
Yeah, and I mean, I think honestly, the big thing is like we have incredibly big goals when it comes to filmmaking. I really do want to set the landscape. We really keep our pulse on a lot of indie film directors, and I would say the typical indie filmmaker, I think, in my opinion, if you had to ask me how long it takes for an indie filmmaker, if they're a first time filmmaker, I would say 2 to 4 years, with probably 2.5 years being like what I would say is a sweet spot that you usually see. And this is what I'm saying from, I even say like from funding point, because you could have someone mulling an idea for 5 years, 7 years, things like that. So I'm going to say from the idea that they have like script and funding, I'll even kind of jump to that point. I think you're looking at 2.5 years to when they will actually get their movie released. A lot of filmmakers will, spend a lot of time, again, getting things together. They do their shoot. They end up with pickup days. They do the pickup days like 6 months later. They spend 6 to 8 months in editing. Then they like want to hold it for a festival season, so they spend like a whole year sitting on it. And I think you really see about 2 years it takes for someone to make a film. And we've talked about this before. We've had cadences where we filmed 4 movies. We filmed 5 movies in 1 year, but we released one, and then it took us like 2 years of just working through that backlog to basically get everything up. So I think the thing that's really different this year is it feels like there is that cadence of we are moving and we are hitting those checkpoints and those milestones. As it being film, it's always going to come up, but the concept that not only are we looking at that 6 to 8 month turnaround now for the features, but that we're consistently adding more features into them. I mean, 6 to 8 month turnaround for any filmmaker in this level would be absolutely amazing. But the fact that we're saying we want to do it at least 4 times, I know you're crazy looking for a fifth one. We'll see if you can sneak that in there. I think that is something that's really crazy. I mean, this is a very, for us, not being full-time on this is a very bold and ambitious schedule, and we're halfway through the year, and I would say we're halfway there. So, what are kind of your thoughts again, comparing our model just to what you see in the indie film landscape? Because I mean, I really, we keep our eye out there, and if there is someone out there, I'd love to meet them, or let us know about them. But I really feel like this schedule is something you just do not see.
Well, I mean, I don't think you see it in the indie landscape, but you don't see it in the Hollywood landscape either. I think for a production company, and I could go back and look at it, but I don't think if we release 5 movies this year, which I think is going to be possible, and I think we're going to shoot 5 movies this year, that puts us probably, I don't know a production company that's doing that volume on any scale, Hollywood or indie. And obviously, yes, our quality isn't Hollywood standard, but it's getting there. And I think we can kind of fill in the blanks and we find, movies that people want to watch. But, Blumhouse has a production company, but he's also a distribution company. I don't think his production company is going to make 6 movies this year. And I'll have to go fact check that. But I think that definitely puts us, we're definitely king of the indies, because I follow indies. I got my hand on the heartbeat of those guys. And there's a couple guys that will crank out 3-4 movies a year, but getting to the 5 or 6 is just pretty wild. And the fact that we're doing this as our side jobs makes us even more crazy. But we have the process down now. I think we're just got to iron out a few little kinks here and there. But, we have this manufacturing plant essentially created, and now it's just how do we scale this from 5 to 6, which I think 6 next year is a very healthy number, obviously to the goal of 12 to have the cadence of a release every single month. But the first step was to just get to this point, and I think we have. I think that there's just a couple things on post-production, on editing wise, that we need to do to kind of clean up, but a lot of stuff that's coming out in the future as far as like the sound editing, color correction, a lot of this stuff is being guided by AI. I know AI is controversial, but for the editing room, I think it's going to really help out a lot of indies, because you can be able to essentially fix all sound issues very, very quickly. And then color correction. I've seen a lot of cool stuff come out in the last couple of months that are going to help a lot of indie filmmakers who may not have the budget to hire a colorist, but have the ability to kind of do it themselves. So all this stuff, once again, is helping our, basic idea of everything's compressing down. And, we're really going to start to see the rise of the indies because we're going to be able to compete on the Hollywood system or compete with the Hollywood system on a budget.
Oh yeah, I mean, I already discounted Hollywood. They're not even close to competitive when it comes to their schedules and everything there. But yeah, I think that is the case. Is really kind of, again, figuring out this formula, and this is I think the nice part with this is, like, while we do have two in the feeder, it's nice kind of having two in the feeder in the sense that, hey, we have at least two movies that are going to launch that do have this, we have this like pipeline kind of building. And again, another one added on with the Bigfoot project. Yes, we do have those pickups, but it is there. I think the big highlight to me for quarter two, because again, Q1, we filmed the Roger project, we released Forest of Death. Forest of Death release was kind of, I mean, again, it was most successful one, so it was good there. But the thing that was cautious with it is, I feel like we always kind of were like iffy about that one. Where I do feel a lot more confident about Horror in the Forest is because of the past trackings and like the found footage and everything. I'm very curious to see how our venture back to found footage does. Also, I think we do have a lot more solidification when it comes to launching these movies. For instance, things just as simple as like getting the Rotten Tomato reviews, having our Discord channel with the launch teams. I compare this to the Haunting the Murder House, where it was like, hey, it's now live, versus, now we're at a point where it's like, hey, it's live. Here are the people that, are taking the pledge that they can go ahead and do it. Here's the rewards we're going to do. Well, I feel like we have a lot of people on the same page now, supporting these launches. So I think Q1, again, the launch, I wasn't as comfortable or as confident just with the concept of the shapeshifter and Forest of Death. I always jokingly called it the Forest of Flop as a way to kind of stay negative. So you can only be, impressed with the results that we had there. But the second thing, Roger Project, again, really, really great film. I think it's very on par to Horror in the Forest, which was a big step up. But I do think the highlight in Q2 to me is the production increase with the Bigfoot project. I know specifically, I've always mentioned, the special effects. And again, we've been improving the special effects. Kaylee has done a fantastic job. Tatum has done a fantastic job. Everyone working on these special effects has done a fantastic job to get us there. But having Cause and Effect, having Tegan kind of really put some extra effort into getting at that next level of gore, as well as, already solidifying, a good team, Dylan stepping up each project and everything there. I just think the production upgrades that we've made from Q1 to Q2, and again, it's not really like there's anything specific as much as we always knew the Roger project was going to be a quicker one, relying on Ben's character of Roger more so, and Bigfoot kind of taking a bigger stab at it. But I see a big step up in our ability to launch movies and our production of movies from Q1 to Q2. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you compare Horror in the Forest to the Bigfoot project, and they're similar, the Bigfoot project should have been a much lower budget movie, and it's just purely my fault that it kind of spiraled out of control. But I do feel comfortable with it. I think that the Bigfoot concept is solid. If it flops, it's not going to be good at all. But just looking at the production side of things, I think we made a lot of progress. And it's just, how do we kind of get to the point of cheating the $1 million budget? And it's always been the goal of mine, is how do we kind of take our very low budget and make it look $1 million. And the first step was telling a good story. And I think we kind of got there with the Murder House. And then with each movie, we've had incremental gains as far as removing the gaslighting, getting likable characters, improving the beat structure so that, we're having constant action all the way through. And I think each time we're getting better and better. Then the second thing would be just cinematography and sound, making sure these things look and sound like Netflix movies. And I think the cinematography each time has gotten better and better. I think we saw a huge jump up with Forest of Death. But if you compare Horror in the Forest to the Roger project to the Bigfoot project, each time is a pretty substantial step up. And each time the effort as far as cleaning up sound and fixing small little things has gotten better. I even went out and got room tone for the Bigfoot project for the first time. So now we're kind of like learning, and we're learning from our mistakes, and we're kind of making this thing better. The acting on all of them has stepped up. Obviously, Tatum and Andrew coming back did a phenomenal job. Ben did a phenomenal job in the Roger project, and Alexa and Andrew did a great job, and Jim also did a great job in Horror in the Forest. So I think right now, as far as acting goes, we've kind of, we're hitting there, but a lot of it comes down to script, writing characters that are interesting, characters that are unique. But I think the big step up, and what we still need to continue to move forward with, is special effects and the details being set design and being costumes. We do a pretty good job with the mask, but there's still smaller details that obviously we need to kind of highlight. And I thought we did a really good job in not Forest of Death, but the Bigfoot project. Now, we got lucky with a couple locations that allowed us to kind of cheat a lot of different locations and cinematic stuff. But it's always on my mind, when we're moving forward to Girl in Cabin 13, the location is going to be pretty much priority. The location, the masks of the killers, which we already have, because we're probably going to reuse Carl and Mo and all the other ones. But just having a really nice cabin and really good woods is really on, the front of my mind as far as what we need to get this to really cheat the Netflix look. Same thing with Murder House. We're gonna have to find a basement. We're gonna have to find an attic. We're gonna have to find something really cool, because the Florida houses, they're just not cutting it. So each of these things, the design, and shout out to Tegan and Cause and Effects. She did a really good job of just making things look good, making things look dirty and grimy. I think the costumes that we had in the last one were our best costumes ever. But, the fact that I don't have to worry about the actors as much, I don't have to worry about the cinematography or the sound, allows me to start to focus on other things. And I think the difference between our stuff and Netflix stuff with each movie is going to get closer and closer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really is the case. And, as I've always mentioned, the nice thing with the production stuff is like that is kind of an easier variable. Again, it is budget and it costs, but it's easy to kind of scale into those things once you have the budget and the cost there. But I really do see that big step up. So now we're going to kind of pivot and go from the films to the community. So I will say one of the big things for the community, TikTok, as much as I love you, and I always will love you for starting and giving us all of these followers, I really do think that I achieved a massive spike in the live streams because of the Batman and me looking like Paul Dano. So now I think I finally put my finger on it to where we had those spikes back then. But they did have an algorithm change, and things have kind of been a lot slower on that end. But that being said, we have pivoted to other platforms, and we're starting to actually get people from Twitch, people from YouTube, people from the streams. So that being said, we actually went from 18,000 followers to now we're at 17,000 in the Discord. But here's the thing, my friends, it's always quality over quantity. We've increased the super fans. We've never had more members, which are the supporters, the heroes, and the legends, which again, all of that 100% goes back to the Discord that allows us to fly more people out. But the most important one is we had, let's see, I should have probably looked up the exact numbers, but I think it was 11 from Roger Project and then 12 for Bigfoot. So we're looking at 23 members from the Discord community that have been in our features for this quarter, for the first 2 quarters. And I have to say, the one thing that I'm really starting to enjoy now, something that was really cool, is Chris, Billy Bartholomew. He does the DBS Films Spotlight podcast, where he interviews other actors, him and Aries. So Billy and Aries, they do it. And, Aries is a legend. Howard's a legend. Billy was on set with us. He was one of the intro hunters. So now he's been on set with us. They were interviewing Tatum and Andrew. I just think what's really cool now is, as we are beginning to get more people onto the set, just more people being able to talk about their experiences, see what this model is like. And, ideally, like we always say, hey, the easiest way for us to cast more people is to get more support. a really good thing to see this model is, everyone who has had the opportunity to really be a champion of this movie. And I think that's another thing I'm looking forward to with Horror in the Forest. This is the first time we have a lot of people from the Discord community that can really point to it and say, hey, I'm in a movie, look at it right here. So I think what's really cool now is the model is working that way. Again, the top line funnel of getting a lot more people into the community has been kind of stalled a little bit with TikTok, but that's the way the algorithms go. You never know when another algorithm update will happen and we'll be right back on our sides. But it has caused a pivot to the other platforms, which is good. But I still think the overall best thing for the community now is we have a lot of people who can start talking about their experiences. A huge shout out to everyone posting about it, creating their little videos and things like that. But we're starting to see the actual results of us making this pivot. Again, we've made this pivot last year around this time to kind of, include casting from the Discord. And now we're going to start getting movies from them. And now we're starting to get a lot of people who are involved with them. So, I think that's the really important thing that I'm starting to see with this community is it's no longer talk. It's, hey, no, look at our movies. They're right there. And, on top of that, we're starting to get really good people. We mentioned this before. Tatum's a massive example of this. She found us on Discord. She did the special effects. She started off as an interviewer, lead role, cause and effects. Congratulations, you have earned a spot on our sets as well too. So, Howard, legend as well. So I think you're starting to see the passion and the talent kind of come through on the Discord community side, and also it supports the model that we're doing.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Horror in the Forest launch because this will be the first time that I think there was 13 or 15 people involved in that process. So now we should be able to see, the full force of, seeing how this model actually works. With Forest to Death, we only had one actor in there, which was Howard. He did a great job. But now we have full support in there. The users and the members will be able to see that we actually, we back up what we say. We cast people in our movies, and they have the opportunity to get casted themselves. But, what we're asking is that we just need to make sure that you're downloading and reviewing that movie, because that's the thing that really helps us out. I'm 100% on board to fly you guys out there and work with you and get you in all these movies, because the Discord has been absolutely fantastic. But we just got to make sure that, that one $3.99 purchase, just don't drink Starbucks for one day, because that really helps us out. We get that revenue back probably tenfold, because we shoot up the algorithm, and we want to see, 400 or 500 reviews right away. That shows Amazon that people like our stuff, and it spreads the word, and it can really help us out and grow as a community. So, I'm excited to see this launch. Like, this should be our most successful launch by far. But I mean, as far as Kel said, numbers don't really matter to me. The one thing that, the metric that I look for as far as like, what are our most loyal fans? How many do we have? How close are we to that 1,000 goal? And that is how many, reviews and purchases can we get within a week? That is the only number that really matters, because those are the super fans. Those are the ones that have our back. And those are the ones I want to reward. So, if you're out here listening and you're kind of like, well, who are these guys? Go look at all our stuff. We've flown people out there. I think I spent $5,000 to fly everyone out there for Horror in the Forest. Everyone's in there. The IMDb credits are live. Everyone's going to go out there. And, it's not like our movies aren't seen by anybody. I think the numbers right now for Murder House are 1.4 million views. That's 300,000 on YouTube. It's close to 800,000 or 900,000 on Tubi. And then obviously the Amazon Prime stuff, it's a little bit harder to gauge, but, by my estimates, it's almost 1.5 million people who have watched that movie. And that was before we even started all this stuff. So, the people in Horror in the Forest, the people in Roger Project, the people in Bigfoot, have the opportunity to have their work in front of 3 to 5 million people. And there's not a lot of actors who could say that.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you kind of highlighted that, because it is now laser focused on the goal is 1,000 reviews. And it's something that I'm going to continue to talk about. If you guys enjoy anything we do in the Discord, if you enjoy any of our streams, karaoke night, I mean, I've had so many people come to me and be like, this place is just absolutely amazing, which it is. And huge shout out to all of our mods, everyone involved in making this community the way it is. It's just so amazing what's spawning from this, but we want to reward it. You know, there's nothing stopping us from rewarding us. We just need to understand that this is the correct model. And what I love the most about this model is if it is correct, and if we can prove that, hey, by going this and embracing this, we can get to that 1,000 launch reviews, that 1,000 launch downloads, that will spike us so hard on the algorithm that we can basically make whatever movie we want within these budget levels. And you already see the quality that we have in these budget levels. But that just means, okay, great, this is working. So you know what we need to do? Let's go ahead and invest more in the community, which means more fun things, which means a lot more different things that we're able to do. We are bringing back the challenges now that the Bigfoot project is done. So I know everyone's loved those and missed those and all that stuff, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many fun things that we can do. And, you know, again, one thing that we're already talking about is like in the future, you know, you can talk to anyone there. They're probably, I think the biggest feedback was it is an incredibly quick turnaround for people to come out and be on set. They come out, they're on set, we get them filmed, and then we fly them out. It's not because we want to, it's because we have to. We don't have the luxury of time on set. We basically have other people coming in, you know, the next day, free of room, all of these different things that we have to do. But in the future, we get to this level, we get the support that we have. Very easy to fly you guys out and stay there for, you know, an extra day, you know, have some time on set, talk to everyone. You know, we can essentially slow down the production a little bit in certain areas if we find that rewarding people for being part of this process leads to a better launch and a bigger launch. So really, again, everyone who's been in these movies, everyone who is in a future movie, the best thing you can do is download it, rent it, review it. And there's a reason why we have the launch team roles in the Discord, because that is the number one way I gauge your support for us. Yes, we have Carl's Club. Yes, we have all this stuff. But what I will say is Carl's Club members, they're on it. You know, the higher ranks, they're on it. But to me, if you really want us to succeed and you don't download the movie and you don't rent and review the movie, it becomes questionable to that one, because again, that is the number one metric of success. And you know me, I never ask for anything. You give me one rose on a TikTok live, I kind of blush a little bit. I don't want those gifts. I don't want anything there. I just want you to download, rent the movie, and review the movie, because again, we are focusing in on this. We need it to be proven. You know, you can't build a business if there is no model that ends up being there. And, you know, spending $5,000, spending all this money, spending all this additional time, working with people, giving people the opportunity, you know, because again, it is a bit of a risk if it's your first time on set. We want to work with people. And if we see how this works and how this develops, it's just going to make us more and more confident. So, I mean, the key thing, again, support these movies when they come out. That's all we're really asking. That is the way the community works. I will say, though, again, the community, when it comes to the newer members that we've had, have really been stepping up. We have a lot of new people that are just, you know, very active and very involved and want to support us. So I'm very confident in our launches, but really that goal is getting to 1,000, because, you know, again, the happiest thing to me, and I know you share the same thoughts, is this just allows us to have fun. This allows us to do the super fan events. This allows us to go ahead and do these things. We just need that data to come back and show that we're on the right page. So, you know, with that being said, Brendan, we have these releases going there. I just kind of want to echo again one more time, supporting horror in the forest right now, because of the way the backlog works. If you're in the Bigfoot project, getting your friends and family to watch this movie and review this movie means that when the Bigfoot project comes out, we have been able to build a much larger base, because you already have 1 million more people. So that is the nice part with stacking these. So I just want to kind of, you know, echo that importance of the better this movie does, the better every movie does afterwards, because we get an influx of eyeballs. We get people to watch the old movies. We get people to join the Discord. All of those things are this giant snowball that builds from one simple download and one simple review.
Yeah, I mean, that's where like the 10x comes from, is that, you know, it goes up the Amazon algorithm, it gets more money, which allows me to market it more, buy more Facebook ads, buy more Amazon ads, and then it allows me to scale up the budget for the movies in January. We're not going to see a dime from this until January. So right now, the foundation is being laid for 2024, but it helps everybody. The past members, people in Force of Death, people in Murder House, people in Girl in Cabin 13, all that visibility spikes again, because people look at this movie, they like it, and then they go back and go through our back catalog. So all this stuff, it's not like we have one movie and then this is it. You know, everyone, the boats, was it like the boats rise with the rising tide? This is, you know, what we kind of need right now. Obviously we want the super fans to get it, but anytime you could share it on social media, tell your friends, just literally find anyone with an Amazon account, you can have them buy it, and that helps us out. It's $3. Go buy your friend a Starbucks or something. It really comes back to us tenfold. And if we can have, even if we have right now 300 super fans and then you just get 3 other people to do it, boom, we're at the 1,000 review mark, the 1,000 purchase mark. And this is the best thing that we can do right now. It allows us to scale, allows us to grow. And then with each release, it gets easier and easier because we have more people, we can get more people. But, like Kel said, is that, we're taking a risk on doing a lot of this stuff, and you just want to see the support. That's all we want. That's all we're asking for, is that $3.99 support. If you're feeling generous after the 48 hours, buy it again. It helps us out because we want to do more events. We're going to probably try and do a bigger event in September. The DBS, we're gonna have a little event table at the Phantasm thing for the Roger Project release. We'll have some cast members in there, and this will be our first time working conventions. But there's a lot of horror conventions, and there's nothing saying that DBS can't go on the road and kind of scale these conventions up and, reward the people who watch our movies. But in order to do that, obviously we have to make sure that the revenue is there. And the best way you guys can help us out is with that $3.99 download, that review, and we'll be forever grateful.
I mean, we will be forever grateful, especially now. Like I'm telling you, don't sleep on this, because one of the first things I do when we're going through those auditions, click on that little Discord. Oh, they have the launch team badges. Because again, it really does come back to us. And if you really do want to support us, this is all I ask. If you save a nickel a day in between our launches, and you'll be good to go. And again, it just means the world to us. So that's gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. Next episode, we're gonna talk about Q3, what we expect, what our forecasts are, and all of that fun stuff. But until then, have a good one.